Welcome everyone to another episode of Mortal Kombat with another interview, but this is a special one because we are with Sylvie. Uh, Hello, Sylvie. Thank you so much for being here. So he won the Fishbowl, and congratulations, Sylvie. So that was awesome. Um, and she won with a deck that is not Blue Farm. You know, all the people is just talk about Blue Farm, but she won with T- Tymna Dargo. So I hope this is gonna be a super good interview for all the people that do not want to play Blue Farm, Kinan, TNT, sorry, and want to play other things because there's a lot of uh, room out there to play different commanders, not just the things that all the big or the majority of the people is playing. So thank you so much, Sylvie, and for accepting this interview.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about Tymna Dargo, and it's true. You don't have to play blue. You don't have to.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, uh, that is super. It's true. So I has been I last year I play a lot of TNK. So this year I start to play another other decks. So I play Glarb. I play um, Norman Osborn. Lastly, um, and I the last week I come back to TNK and it didn't feel well. It was weird. It's like um, you start to like other things that and you know I believe that this is gonna be super cool to talk with you because I believe TND is very strong right now.
Yeah, I think Tymna Dargo is a very strong deck that's very well positioned in the meta right now. At least the meta that I play in, and the meta that we saw at Fishbowl.
Yeah.
I think black and red are really good at winning fast right now. I think Dargo is a really, really strong broken combo piece that also, like, his flexibility. He can be a mana battery. He can be a sack outlet. He can be a 7 power creature to abuse that, or a 7 mana value creature to abuse that. He can be a combo piece. He can also be a 7/5 trampler when the board is stacked out and it's time to start beating people down. Dargo is so strong and flexible, and Tymna gives you such a great backup plan and card advantage in the command zone that the deck feels like able to play in any sort of game, high resource, low resource, stacksy, and have a chance. So I'm very high on the deck. I think it's great. It's doing good right now. Yeah.
Awesome. So when do you start to play Magic the Gathering? It was like directly Commander, or you start to play in 60 format?
I started playing Magic the Gathering a long time ago.
Okay.
So definitely 60 card and 40 card. I actually started as a limited player primarily. So I started playing Magic around Invasion block, I want to say.
Okay.
I remember people were like, "Don't buy Prophecy, don't buy Masks, buy Invasion. This set is good." So I played Magic and I played mostly Draft because I couldn't afford. I was a young kid, a teenager. I couldn't afford to buy a standard deck, so I played a lot of limited. I played a lot of Draft and got really into limited around Innistrad. Return to Ravnica was going to the store and competing, and then Commander became a thing. I was playing with friends, and then I stopped playing Magic for a few years. I started working, and I didn't have time anymore, and I moved away from all my Magic friends. And then after COVID, a friend was like, "Hey, you should come out and play Commander with us sometime. It'll be fun." I was like, "Okay, I've got my mono black Gisa Ghoul Caller deck. I'll bring it out." And I was like, oh wow, there's so many new cards. These are really cool. And so I started building casual decks and really enjoyed the brewing process. And there was always one table at the local store of cEDH players. And I'd go over, and I loved High Power Magic because I used to play Vintage Cube on MTGO all the time. And I've always loved combo. I always loved like playing with those high power cards. So I go over and look at what they were doing and be like, I bet I could do that. So I proxied a Yuriko list and showed up and played my little ninjas. And I lost over and over again to this Kenrith player who we would be like, wow, how do you always have Dockside? And he'd be like, I tutor for it every game. This card is broken, you know? It's like, oh, whoa. Yeah, this is, yeah. And so that got me hooked on cEDH, and I kind of caught the bug there. And that was, I think, in 2022 that I started playing cEDH. And the scene was really small in my part of LA, Los Angeles for a little while. But then in 2020, late 2023, early 2024, we really started getting a group together around Paper Heroes Games in Van Nuys. And that has just grown and grown and grown. And now we have a little LA cEDH server. There's meetups 3 times a week. There's bi-weekly tournaments. All the stores are running tournaments now. And so it's really become a great place to play and improve. And I that's kind of my history with the format.
Yeah, I mean, and cEDH has this proxy friendly, thing that it makes so easy to the people just play it. So and as you say, it's growing and growing, and it's like Wizard, like put in bracket 5 cEDH and recognize that it exists, but it's like probably they never gonna accept proxies, but they can do anything about this. It's gonna keep growing. So basically it's something that it has its own. So that is super cool. So in the stores that you play cEDH, they allow proxies. It's no problem at all with that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have an issue. We've never had a trouble with a store that has been like no proxies. I think the main thing, I try to support the stores I play at, because I will always, if I make a new deck, I'm always going to proxy it first. I'm not going to go out and buy the cards. I'm going to proxy it first. But when I like a deck, I say, okay, now I want to pick this up. So I always try to buy local from the stores, and I proxy a lot of decks. I like to brew, so I buy a lot of sleeves. So I'm always buying sleeves at the stores locally. And, we support them. We buy snacks, we buy drinks, and they generally don't. And we get people in the door, So.
Yeah, that is I like that, because it's very similar over here. It's like the stores not always get the money from the cards. Sometimes it's just you buy the drinks, you buy other stuffs. It's like you are in the space, but you contribute.
But my local store, they had a Lion's Eye diamond one day, and I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about getting one of those, and so I bought my Lion's Eye diamond from them because it was a good price, and I play there, so I try to support when I can. I've been slowly buying out my decks slowly.
Yeah, I mean, because how it is. Basically, we're gonna spend a lot of money on this. Yes, and it's expensive. Dual lands, moxes, all the things are expensive. So yeah. Okay, so moving to the Fishbowl, 295 people. So it's huge. It's a huge event. So how you prepare for the Fishbowl?
Yeah, so the way I prepared was to just try to play as much as possible, and think about the meta as much as possible. And I tried to play against a variety of players. So I didn't want to just play against high skill players, although I certainly tried to play against a lot of my high skill locals. But I would try to play against some of my lower skill locals as well, because I expected, hey, I'm going to have to play, and this is not insulting anyone, there's lots of people, different levels of familiarity, newer to the game, because I knew I was going to play a variety of people during the Swiss. With 300 people, you're going to have it's an open format, right? So I tried to play as many games as possible, and I looked at what people were playing, and I was noticing, I keep ending up in these non-blue pods or single blue deck pods. Like, all these people who used to play TNT or Tameshi are switching to Rosh or Ral or Atali, and then when I would play against I also tried to practice this against some of like really accomplished high skill players here, and when I'd have games with them, I would talk about the games afterwards. I'd break down the things I'd done, the political moves, the lines I took, and playing against high skill players is great because it forces you to play mechanically correctly, to not miss sequence, to not punt your line, so they will do everything they can to stop you, right? So it was playing a lot of games. Mentally, I went in with as low expectations as possible. My goal was not to win. My goal was just to play as well as I could and trust in my process. By not setting strict goals or expectations for myself that I felt I had to live up to, I was able to focus on the gameplay and not the anxiety of what if I don't make it? What if I'm not as good as I want to be? I've played a lot of competitive Street Fighter style games, so I'm very used to tournament nerves, even though I haven't played a ton of cEDH tournaments. And honestly, there were only like a couple moments where I started getting nervous. I started with a loss and I wasn't freaking out. It was after my first win, I thought, oh, okay, maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I'm going to do well. And I felt, my chest tighten and felt the nervousness. But I took deep breaths and I calmed down. And yeah, I don't know. It was a good mindset where I wasn't saying I need to do XYZ. I need to top 16. I need to win. I just focused on one game at a time, one turn at a time, one card at a time.
Yeah, I believe that you mentioned things that are really important. Mm-hmm. One thing is you need to basically play against all the kind of people. This remind me is a Wizard article that talk about Timmy, Jimmy, and Spike. So basically, you need to challenge all kind of players and the mix of them. You have Spike Timmys and Jimmy Spikes, and it's important to have a group of people that is very skilled, and you discuss strategies and different aspects of the games, but also you need to challenge yourself against people that maybe they do suboptimal plays, and you need then try to fix that or try to play on top of that. And that is the good things about the stores, that you go over there and it's a variety of things of people there.
Yeah, I also played several tournaments. I started going to my local tournaments a lot more. And luckily there are a lot of strong players here. I got to play several tournament games against Zach Adler, who won the Invitational. So that was some really good political practice, because he's a very political player. So I felt that playing against players like him prepared me politically for some of these higher tables at Fishbowl.
I remember when I talked with Zach that he mentioned that he in the table to like synchronize in terms of the goals with the people. So then it's very difficult. I imagine it's very difficult to play against him because he's such a nice guy. So
Yeah.
basically, it's like, yeah, we can go together to do that. But basically, winning. So basically, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, is in that way?
Yeah, I mean, he's so good at talking you out of the best thing for you, you know? Like, and he's so good at it, and he's really good at setting up these situations where it just works out a little bit better for him. You know, he's so good at eking out that small advantage and then compounding them until he can win. I mean,
That's it.
he's an amazing player. He ended day 1 at 8 points, I think, and had to like win 2 games on day 2 to make top 16, and he did. And I'm pretty sure he ended up in a 3-hour top 16 game where he like cast a grand abolisher and just needed to present a win, and time ran out on the 3 hours. So like, I know,
Wow.
heartbreak, but yeah, I was really glad I didn't have to play him in the finals because he's a player who I beat him in casual games, but I've never beat him in a tournament. I've drawn with him or lost him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Oh wow.
I got lucky.
Wow.
I got lucky. Yeah.
So and why did you choose D&D?
Yeah, so I've been playing Mardu for probably about a year and a half. Maybe a year and a half. I picked up the Hada a little while ago. I'd been a brewer. I wasn't taking tournaments too seriously, and I went to a tournament with Rowan, Scion of War, and I was losing to players I knew I was better than. I was a stronger player. And I was like, I need a better deck. Not to say Rowan is a weak deck, but it was a different meta. This was pre-bans. You know, it was a very different time. So I picked up the Hada because a lot of my friends from San Diego played Mardu, and I felt like White provided so much more support. It provided silences. It provided a card advantage, right? You have Esper Sentinel, and I wanted to give Mardu a try, and I loved it. Mardu really taught me how to be flexible and how to push for a win at the same time, because the beauty of Mardu is it's this fast, focused thing that is going to be proactive and try to win, but it also has all the support for if the game goes long. You've got Grand Abolisher, you've got Voice of Victory, and you've got interaction. You have Silence is like, I think the strongest interactive spell. Maybe Mindbreak Trap is better, but you know, its Silence is so strong right now. So that kind of made me fall in love with Mardu. And then there was a local tournament at a store called Finch and Sparrow, and I played Dahada, and I wasn't super happy with it. I didn't do super well. I got a lot of draws. It would be like I'd present a win, and someone would be like, well, I have a force negation, and it would be a draw. You know, Dahada was feeling linear. It was very focused, but all roads lead through Breach. So everyone knew Dahada's going to try to breach. It's going to be a graveyard thing. It felt like it was very easy to attack the deck. And after the tournament, I was talking to Zach, actually, and he was like, you should try this deck, Tymna Dargo, because it has creature combos. And I had, in the tournament, I kept ending up in games where I'd be like, uptick Dahada, next turn I'm gonna downtick, and being like, this is not working. You know, this is way too bad as a backup plan. And Tymna is a great backup plan. I played some Rog Tymna. It was like a very value-focused Rog Tymna build that, like, it was really fun. It wasn't good at winning the game, but it was really good at making treasures and drawing cards, you know, so kind of like Blue Farm without the blue. And I said, okay, Dargo's a little intimidating, but let me give it a try. And I just fell in love with the deck. I really like difficult Magic decks, and I really like complicated decks. And Mardu is already pretty difficult because you have to use your resources really wisely. You don't have the same political leverage a lot of decks do because you don't have counter spells. And you tend to have less card advantage in the command zone compared to other decks or less powerful commanders. You know, Tymna is very powerful, Dargo is very powerful, but Kinnan is like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, but Dargo, like Tymna Dargo felt, compared to Dahada felt so narrow and focused. Tymna Dargo felt so flexible. It could grind with Tymna. It could, you know, turbo with Dargo. It could also, like I said, like in these stacked out boards, just start hitting face with Dargo. And like the deck felt so powerful. Like it had so much potential and there were so many different things you could do with it. There was such a learning curve, so many things to do and ways to grow that I just fell in love. It took me a while to get kind of on top of the deck and learn the play patterns, learn how to play around Dargo, because Dargo is a whole learning curve on his own. But when I did, it started clicking and I was like, oh yeah, this is the deck for me. So yeah.
And also it's like you pick a very good deck in a moment that the you know, like the games are ending in turn 3, 4 maybe, but it accelerates a lot. So I believe that D&D, RAL, Roxy in some extent, but Roxy is not. I mean, it's stopping. It's making the cut, but I didn't see like a lot of Roxy players win tournaments. So maybe something that I don't know is different in that kind of turbo decks that is not similar in Tymna Dargo or RAL. But it's like the meta is faster, so it's a good deck in that way.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it's slower than decks like RAL or Atali or Rogsai, but it has this backup plan. It's got Tymna, and so when if a game goes long so having access to Tymna is so valuable. And my list de-emphasizes a lot of the Tymna synergy cards. Like I'm not on Delny, for example, but even without those emphasis, like those cards, Tymna is so powerful and so strong and so nice to have access to. So I think and you get interaction, right? You get silence, you get the stuff to stop the fast decks, and you have protection. So it just feels like it's in the right spot. It can go fast or it can go slow and play all sorts of games.
Okay, so I'm gonna just share my screen to
Sure.
This was your deck. So right now, this was the deck that you play at the Fishbowl. This is good right now. Top deck that, you know, it's like you will have the screenshot of the tournament. So if you change card after that, you know, we can discuss about it. But what is special about your TND? Because probably it has its own signature.
So I would say my major innovation or change to the deck is something I would call a polarization. So you'll notice I am on 9 1-drops. That's a lot of 1-drops. And if you scroll down to the sorceries, you will notice I am not on a lot of like the powerful 3-mana sorceries. The Jessica's Wills, Seize the Spotlight, to an extent Wheel of Fortune, although it's a bit different. And if we go look at the creatures, I'm not on a lot of the powerful 3-mana creatures. The Mayhem Devil, Delny, or Knuckles is a 4-drop. So my major insight was the meta is not a meta where you need to sneak through spells that are powerful but not so powerful that they're winning the game. Jessica's Will is like the perfect example of a card like that. Like, oh, I'm casting Jessica's Will. It's going to give me a bunch of mana, and it's going to give me 3 cards. They could be good. They could be bad. Do you counter it? Do you not counter it? In like the mid-range Hell meta that we had, you know, a few months ago, those cards were really strong because they make the blue players sweat and say, oh, do I spend a counter? Do I not? Right? You kind of commit without overcommitting. But the meta we're in right now is not like that. If you are tapping out for a 3-mana spell, it should be trying to be very powerful. And like, I want to be casting must counters. And if I'm not casting must counters, I want to be setting up to win. So I removed a lot of these cards, and they're not bad cards. They're super powerful cards. But I removed a lot of these cards that don't win the game for me. And like, they're strong, but they're not game winning. And I put in a lot of 4-drops, which do win the game for me or are extremely powerful, and a lot of 1-drops. And the reason I'm on a lot of 1-drops is I want to be able to cast Dargo as quickly as possible. I kept finding myself, this deck is hard to mulligan. It's only on 23 lands, so it can have a lot of bad hands. So I want, like, I kept finding myself being like, okay, I've got Sacrifice and Adnaz in my hand. All I need to do is cast Dargo and sacrifice him and jam this Adnaz. But I would be like, but I don't have enough stuff to sack the Dargo. So I just have to sit here and draw cards until I have enough stuff to sack. And so by playing more 1-drops, I increase my number of keepable hands, because hands that are like land, and 3 1-drops, that's a totally keepable hand. I increase my ability to cast Dargo, and I increase my Tymna plan, because in a slower game, I 1-drop into turn 2 Tymna, or 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop into turn 3 Tymna. Those are like very keepable hands, and are totally reasonable. So I would say, like, it's not that I've reinvented the wheel here, but I've really tried to focus on a lot of 1-drops to make the mulligans better and make my early game better, because so much of the game is in those first 3 turns, right? And then a lot of, like, I'm on a lot of 4-drops. I'm on Yawgmoth, I'm on Academy Rector, I'm on Myrel, because I want these powerful plays that will win me the game. I'm also on every black mass draw effect. I'm on Bolus of Citadel, Adnaz, Peer into the Abyss, and Necropotence. I want these impactful spells that can win the game. Like, the goal of my list is not necessarily to turbo as quick as possible, but it's to put myself in the position where I can attempt to win as quickly as possible. That doesn't mean I always will attempt to win as quickly as possible, but I want to be ready, right? Like, I'm gonna hit my window and I need to hit it. So the goal is to, like, be able to hit my window in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I imagine Sticky Fingers is in the same direction that have better turn 1. Yeah.
Better turn 1 and turn 2. So Sticky Fingers, it's a weird card. I wouldn't say like it's like a great card and you have to play it, but the math behind it makes sense. And the math is, if I play a 1-drop on turn 2, I tap, I play Sticky Fingers on it, and I'm mana neutral, right? Because it produces a treasure, right? So I haven't gone down on mana. I can spend that mana if I need to. But I probably play a second 1-drop because I'm on so many 1-drops. And then on turn 3, if I hit with Sticky Fingers again, now I have 2 treasures. So I spent 1 mana last turn for 2 treasures on turn 3, and now I've got my 1-drop and 2 treasures. It casts Dargo on its own, right? So with 2 cards, I can cast Dargo. So it kind of sets up for those turn 3 pushes, or being able to push on turn 3 when you need to. And then it can crack top deck tutors. In a slower Tymna focus game, it might draw me an extra card or 2 because it gives something menace, so it can get in with Tymna, If I like it basically, like, a lot of the optimizations I made were, you'll notice I'm not on Felwar Stone or any talismans. The 2 mana rocks were too slow and clunky. So Sticky Fingers is almost like a Springleaf Drum with upside, right? It's like a Springleaf Drum because I'm on so many 1-drops, but I don't want to tap my 1-drops for mana. I want to attack with them because I run Tymna. So it's a weird little card, but like, it just kind of does enough where it's worth playing, if that makes sense. Definitely not essential, but it's like a little optimization, So.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of sense. it remembers me Strike It Rich,
Yeah.
that that I start to play it on Grixis because it I start to feel that this is a card that allows you a turn two, Ristic or whatever, but also it helps you with the opal. So basically, those kind of cards. So and I understand your rationale behind this.
Yeah.
Something that for me is intriguing is like Vexing Bubble, because I understand how good it is, but in white, when you have access to all the silences, usually you don't expect the presence of Vexing Bubble because you have all the other things. So why you are on Vexing?
Vexing is, I think, one of the most important cards for me, at least at Fishbowl. So the thing that's amazing about Vexing is it's a multifunction card. It is both a protection piece, which is particularly strong when you do creature combos, because the main ways people run to stop creature combos are Force of Will, Pact of Negation, and Mindbreak Trap. And Vexing Bauble stops all of those, right? The things that work through Vexing Bauble, Flusterstorm, Swan Song, they don't do anything to creature combos. So it's particularly strong because this deck wants to cast Dargo a bunch and not care about non-creature spells. But it's also a stacks piece. It's a stacks piece against decks like Atali and Ral that I normally struggle to deal with because they're faster than me. Because this card just says, Atali, you are not going quick. You are going to slow down. And Ral can still storm off, but when you flip Ral, you can't cast any of the spells because you cast them for free. And so it's like, it's so perfectly positioned where it helps me against those slow decks and it helps me against the fast decks. And the slow decks, the TNT and the blue farm, will say, yes, please put Vexing Bauble into play to stop Atali. And then, 2 turns later, be like, oh my god, all my counter spells don't work against you when you're pushing for a win. I think the play pattern of Grand Abolisher, pass and hope it gets back to me is really dangerous and not good politically. It puts a huge target on you. But people just don't care if you have Vexing Bauble in play. They're like, you're helping.
That's true.
yeah. So
yeah.
It's so strong. Hope of Girapur is another one where it's a silence I can deploy the turn before and not have to spend mana on my turn, right? So they were both very useful cards for me because of that. And honestly, the more silences, the better, in my opinion. You kind of they're too strong, they're way too strong. So
yeah. So but one of the big absence is Flame Scroll Celebrant, I guess is the name. Yeah. So you are not on that.
I'm not. Yeah. So
yeah.
I can talk about it. Yeah. So essentially, it's just too expensive right now.
Okay.
Which is weird because yes, it's very powerful, but I'm on Silence and I'm on Orum's Chant, right? And yes. Vexing Bauble is kind of in the same function where it stops the decks that I want to silence. To me, the instant speed silences, so Silence, Orum's Chant, and Revel in Silence or Flame Scroll Celebrant, they are primarily to use on other people's turns to stop them. For me, they're not to protect myself generally, they're to stop other people. I view them as interaction first and protection for my own win second. And Revel in Silence is just too expensive and the reason for that is if I can resolve a non-creature silence, because I do so many creature combos, I probably can win anyway, I probably didn't need it. But there are decks faster than me, so I really use those silences to stop those faster decks, or try to get a draw or something like that. I just kept finding, I just kept finding that white was too expensive to do on other people's turns because I'd need to develop on my turn, and then holding up white 2 pips is really hard. I would be cracking treasures to cast Revel in Silence. And like mana drain, let's talk about mana drain, because I think it's a good comparison. Really powerful card, mana drain, right? But who plays it? Very few people play it because blue is just too expensive, you know? And I think white is kind of the same way. It's just too much. So I cut it for Orem's Chant, which, you know, the fact that it's just 1 pip is so much better. It's so much easier to cast. And again, I view these primarily as interaction. So Orem's Chant does what I want most of the time. I don't think Revel is a bad card. In a slower meta, I think it makes sense. But it was too awkward for me. It was just too awkward for me.
Yeah. Okay, it has sense. But you are on Myral that is expensive, but it's one white, so it's 3 generic. But okay.
It's also a grand. It also is a grand abolisher. It turns off activated abilities, which is so. I play against a lot of cEDH Weatherlight Captain, and having my Rel is like so important so that they can't activate cEDH. You know, Voice of Victory doesn't stop that. Also, I'm on Pyre of Heroes, and Yes, and I can sacrifice Tymna with Pyre of Heroes to put my Rel directly into play, which does come up.
Yeah, because usually it's like one of these for Grand Abolisher and a Voice of Victory, but now you have Tymna into my.
Exactly. Yep.
I see, but you are on Ranger, so
yes.
Ranger is special because, you know. I believe is Logan from Critical EDA is pushing Blue Farm without Ranger.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion about Ranger in your list or in general? It's like is it getting too expensive right now, or is like a card that deserves to be in the deck?
Yeah. So Ranger is expensive, but I think it's strong because you pay up front and then it's free to crack, you know? So for me, like, if you're relying on it to stop turbo, it's too slow. Like, you can't keep a hand with 3 lands into a Ranger Captain and be like, this will stop the Ral. No, Ral is going to push before the Ranger Captain comes into play. But Ranger Captain is so much more for me than just a way to stop other people. It's a silence for non-creatures on my turn. It is 2 cards for 1. Like, I'm on 9 1-drops, so Ranger Captain can get me so much stuff. It can get me Stitcher's Supplier, which is a combo piece for Breach. It can get me Esper Sentinel for card draw. It can get me Dragon's Rage Channeler, also for Breach. It can get me Hope of Girapur, which is like a secondary. Like, if I'm in a game where I just want to control and like have silences up, Ranger Captain into Hope of Girapur is like, oh, we're slowing everyone down. Like, we're gonna get political with it, you know? So to me, I think Ranger Captain is really strong in this deck. I personally can't. I would not consider cutting it.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, in those slower games, like, it's so valuable to have. Yeah, I just find the silence creatures to be too strong. It also, like, you can crack it and it makes Dargo cost less because you sacked a creature. It's yeah, it's just, it has too much synergy in this deck. Yeah,
and other thing that I noticed, like, okay, so you are on that now, but you also are impeding to the Abyss. This card is you know, is people is not playing it a lot.
Yeah.
And I believe that is because of Fishbowl Master. So my question is, like, for you, what is your experience on PETA?
I won the final pod with it. So so PETA, my opinion on it is, I think Dargo decks are particularly well positioned to play it because of the ability to go Dargo, Sacrifice, or Burnt Offering into PETA. Like, you have this way to easily make 7 black mana, and like PETA just, like, it perfectly lines up, right? So PETA is not a card I would throw out often without protection or like feeling like it's really my window.
Yeah.
In the finals, I thought I had a bunch of mana and I was tutoring for a black one card. You know, it was going to be a mass draw engine. And I was like Adnos, PETA, or Citadel. But I was like, okay, does anyone have commanders? Could anyone have Orcish Bowmasters? Could anyone have deflecting SWAT? No. Okay, and you know, PETA is the strongest. Like it's the card in the deck that if you resolve it, you will win the game. You know, so a lot of this deck is, like I said, is being able to present a win as quickly as you can. Again, I'm not saying that's how you should play it. You should just turbo, but being able to you don't want to be in a position where you're like, I can't present a win. I don't know how long it'll be, because when you get your window, you want to hit it, right? So having as many of these big cards that win you the game when they resolve is good. Yes, PETA is a dangerous card. It can go the wrong way. It's on you as a pilot to not cast it into situations where that can happen.
Yeah.
I have not had many games where PETA is swatted or bowmastered. I will put it like that. It is resolved successfully more than it has resolved unsuccessfully. But I also have to be judicious with it.
Yeah, it has sense. At the end of the players need to I believe that you say have agency about the card that they play. Yeah, it has a lot of sense. So there is something in your deck that after the tournament you say, okay, this is not working very well, I want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been modifying the list too much actually. I've been overall pretty happy with it. Let's scroll down. My Rel, I think, is actually a little slow for the meta. She was like amazing in my testing games because I play against Sisse a lot. And I don't think she's a bad choice, but I did have games where she felt like a little expensive. So okay. I don't think cutting my Rel is super unreasonable. Let's keep going. Everything else here, I'm like, no, this is all great. Yeah, this is all still great. So, you know, I think Sticky Fingers is a flex spot. You could cut it. Overall, I'm still very happy with the list, and I wouldn't make a ton of changes. I mean, it was very successful for me. There are a lot of cards I'm considering trying and testing, particularly some new cards. Okay. I think Touch the Spirit Realm is a card that I'm probably going to remove. It's very strong, but it's kind of a card you want against stacks pieces or against opposing Grand Abolishers, and I just wasn't seeing a lot of opposing Grand Abolishers at Fishbowl. I cut Pyroblast to put Touch the Spirit Realm in, but I think I'm going to put Redirect Lightning in that spot.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that card is... I just think that card is really strong. Overall, like, there's cards I want to test. I want to test Abeyance, actually. I don't know if you're familiar with... It's like 1 and a white for a silence, but it draws a card, which I think is really valuable.
Yes.
Other than that, like, I am still very happy with the list, and until the meta shifts significantly, I will plan on continuing to play this. There are 1-drops that could change. Mardu Devotee kind of got thrown in the week before the tournament because people in the Dargo Discord was saying how strong it was. So far, it has been really good for me, but it's like a card I'm not convinced on. Stitcher's Supplier goes in and out. I think it's strong enough to play. Dragon's Rage Channeler, on the other hand, is a card that like people swear by, but I have never had I've never been like, wow, it was so good this game. But it's very powerful, you know. So I still reserve room to like tweak the 1-drops, but I'm still very happy with the deck overall. Like I haven't made any changes even in my Moxfield list because I still think it's feeling good.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So with all the density of red creatures, you didn't like Flare of Duplication?
I tested it before the tournament actually. The
Okay.
week so one of the last changes I made was cutting Flare of Duplication. Actually,
Okay.
it was the last card I cut. I cut it for Goblin Engineer. Because Goblin Engineer is just so good. It
Yeah.
does a very specific thing, but it does it really well. It's a little slow, but it won me a game in the tournament. The ability to fetch. I actually use it with the Jolly Balloon Man. I made a hasty Goblin Engineer to put Relic of Legends into play.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Flare is great in an ad nause meta. I think Flare is really important because being able to copy an ad nause is really strong. It like barely didn't make the cut for me, and it was mostly because I hadn't tested it enough. And I had cut a couple other red creatures. I think I had cut Engineer, and I was like, I don't have enough red creatures. I'm just gonna put Engineer back in instead of Flare. Yeah, but Flare is very strong, and I don't think it's a bad card at all.
Yeah, I am agree with that. So this deck is fast. Basically, you want to win very fast, and if you don't win, probably you're gonna draw or you want to draw. So I do, and also you are very low in interaction. So basically, the spells that you have is for your game. So there is room for politics for this deck, or is more like I do my own game, and if it works, great. If not, next one.
There's definitely room for politics with this deck.
Okay.
But it's in a different way than a blue deck where like you don't do the thing like I show you sometimes you do it with a silence, but like it's not very often that you're like, let me show you this card. Are you sure you want to do that? You can with a silence, but so what I do think is important politically with this deck is when you're in a pod with blue players and a lot of blue decks that are going to politic you need to politic back. So I can give an example from one of my rounds. I think I can talk about a few things. When I play against a player like Zach, when there's and he has like a Ristic in play and it's kind of a volatile board state where I don't want to push too hard and throw him ahead, but I need to start burning through interaction or advancing my board state or getting important pieces into play. I can't just sit there and do nothing. I will try to politic to get information. I will talk to people to get information. I will say, I'm thinking about playing this card. It's probably really scary to you, but I'm not going to win the game with it this turn. What do you think? What do you want to do? And I will try to put myself in positions where I can test the waters, so I will put, maybe I cast Voice of Victory expecting it's not going to resolve. And if it does, we see what happens. But if it doesn't, I don't say, screw it, I'm jamming this breach. I say, okay, cool, I'm going to just pass the turn. You have to balance your play in that way and say, okay, I'm going to wait for a better window, and figure out when you want to push a little bit, when you want to push a lot, when you want to, if you can get, another thing I do in slower games is I try to get a piece like Yawgmoth or Goblin Bombardment or Mayhem Devil, which I'm not on right now because I was expecting faster games, but it's great when you're expecting slower games. If you get one of those into play, suddenly you have a lot of political agency because you can control the board, right? You can say, I'm not going to let Kinnan stay on the board. You better not, do something. And
Yeah.
so you have these tools in your deck that allow you to start playing a political game. You also have tools like Smothering Tithe, or you can run Trouble in Pairs that allow you to get value in a long game. And you can say, I don't need to push. I don't need to be the proactive deck. I can sit back and try to grind. So I do think it's very weird, and it's not my first tactic, but there is room to be political with the deck. And part of that is being able to go for draws, right? Being able to say, okay, I'm going to push here, and I fed the Ristic player too many cards, but this other player has to stop me, so we draw, right? Like, in a game at Fishbowl, I was playing with Freedom Waffle, who's a very political player. Yeah. And he and I both were higher on points, so we were okay with the draw. And he cast an Amphibian Downpour to stop a Kinnan, a different Kinnan from winning. And he was like, tell me why I shouldn't put an Amphibian Downpour on your Tymna. And I said, my hand was not very good. I didn't have a win, and I had a silence and I had a sacrifice. I said, look, I'll show you my hand. I will tell you I'm not close to a win. I have some strong pieces. I had a Myrel, but I don't have tutors. I don't have a way to, like, I don't have an A or a B, you know? So if you hit my Tymna, what I'm going to do is cast that sacrifice, and I'm going to make 3 black, and then I'm going to tap my other 2 lands, and I'm going to recast my Tymna because I need to stay in the game. And if you don't hit my Tymna, I'm going to hold this silence up to stop these other players. And and like I showed him my information. I was like, this is my plan, this is what I'm doing, but like, look, it's in your best interest not to, you know, not to do that. And I was able to successfully do that, and then we ended up taking the game to a draw. So I also, like, I've gotten very political with Hope of Girapur, and I've said, I'm going to attack you with Hope of Girapur. You need to show me your hand, or else I'm going to crack it, and you're not going to be able to cast non-creature spells because you've drawn a bunch of cards off Ristic. I'm scared you're going to win. There's a lot of little political tricks you can do with this deck to get information. And information is so important, especially in Mardu. You want a sense of how close everyone is to winning, because, you know, if someone else is close to winning, your push getting stopped results in a draw more likely. It also means the window's closing, and you might just need to go now and hope for the best. So yeah, I think information gathering is really important. Politics is a huge part of that.
Awesome. So in this so extensive and long tournament, because we're 2 days, 7 rounds, top 16 final, so how you manage between rounds? You have some, you know, like special things that you do, like I don't eat much, I eat more. I like, you know, energy drinks or whatever. So how is that?
Number one is staying hydrated. That's okay. Like number one is drink a lot of water. I think it's like the most important thing. I don't eat a lot generally between rounds because it's like another thing to manage mentally, and I want to stay in the moment and focus. After the one exception was after top 16, I won in like 10. I won on turn 2 in top 16, so it was like a 10-minute game, and that round had a 3-hour time limit. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat something because I'm gonna be here a while. But my main thing is I try not to leave the tournament venue. Like I'll go outside and walk around, but I don't go back to my room. I don't go elsewhere to get food. I want to stay there. I want to stay in the moment. I want to stay focused. And coffee, water and coffee. Those are the main things for me. Yeah.
Water and coffee. So something that you mentioned that is a lot of people say that people that do other competitive sports is like be in the moment. It's like it seems like that is super relevant. There is a lot of different ways to do that. There is some meditation techniques and things like that, but it's so much important to be in the moment and just focus, because if not, you start to let your brain divagate and flow away and start to thinking what is gonna happen if and all the ifs. So basically, that is not help you. It make you anxious, and it's not. So you have some meditation techniques, some ways to be in the moment and don't let your brain start to think in what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I use breathing techniques mostly. Like,
Okay.
it's nothing like super specific, just like general breathing techniques. There's like box breathing, there's like numbered breathing where you breathe for,
Yes.
certain number of seconds in, then hold it, then a certain number of seconds out. When I get anxious, I will use breathing techniques to try to focus myself. But the main thing that works for me is just it's more than a technique. It's an initial approach. It's a mindset thing. That's what I have found works the best. It's setting the right mindset before even arriving, and then routine. Like I have a routine before each game. I get my my dice out, my life counters out. I get my tokens out. I get my deck out. I shuffle my deck. Everything. I try to set everything up the same way, and so I'm like in my element. I'm in the zone. I'm ritual, routine, I think are a big part of that. And I want to like be comfortable. I want to make sure I'm sitting comfortably. I have water. It's really just about filtering out distractions. And what I've found is if my mindset's wrong, the intrusive thoughts and the anxiety is going to come no matter what. I used to struggle when I played fighting games competitively. I'd struggle really bad with nerves, and I tried so many things to deal with them. I at one point I have a sack of lavender, like aromatherapy. I would like try like smelling something to help calm my nerves, and it didn't help. So, but what helped was changing my mindset and being process oriented as opposed to goal oriented. That was the major thing for me. So I focus on just try to play as well as I can. It's not about the result, it's about my own process, especially in cEDH. Like you can lose the game because of someone else's actions entirely out of your control, right? Or you could just not get good hands, and you mulligan really low and you're probably not winning that game, and so you can't be fixated on I have to do X, or I deserve X, or I'm disappointing myself if I don't achieve my goal. So I just focus on playing the best Magic that I can, making the best decisions I can in the moment. And when I do that, my nerves go away and I'm able to focus. And I try to just tune out the noise and focus on the signal, if that makes sense. So,
You can prepare a lot to play against. No, it's not against. It's to play with the variance of the game, because it's the Magic format with the highest variance probably. But at the end of the day, because always something is gonna be out. So, and you're not gonna be able to prepare for each scenario. So
yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
I was just gonna say this might be controversial, but I don't believe cEDH is a format where the best player wins 100% of the time. I think the best player will win a majority of the time given enough, sample size. But you can, if you focus on just being the strongest player you can be, and working on, your own decision making, your own thought process, your own, political game, that's all you can do. At the end of the day, your opponents are out of your control. They're their own human beings with their own motivations. And so you need to, to me, like you have to focus on the things you can control and then hope everything works out. And sometimes it does, and you win a tournament and it's awesome. And sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay too, So
So your top 16 was super short.
Yeah.
and then you have the final. So the final was different. It was more complicated game, was more longer.
It was a 1 round longer. It was a turn 3 instead of a turn 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay.
uh, yeah. So in top 16, I had a turn 2 in first seat, which was very lucky. But you know, the deck is capable of it. It was my only turn 2 the whole tournament. It was a great time to have a turn 2. And in top 4, I saw a second 7 with Mox Diamond and Vexing Bauble, and like sacrifice Demonic Tutor. So I was like, great, I was against an Atali, a Tymna, Dargo, and a Kinnan. So I was like, great, this is exactly the game I want Vexing Bauble in. It protects me from the Kinnan, it stops the Atali, and I'm ahead of turn order from the Tymna, Dargo, so hopefully this slows them down too. And it's a hand that only needs Dargo fodder to then be able to go sacrifice Demonic Tutor. So I've got a game plan, right? I've got and my deck has been constructed to provide me with Dargo fodder, right? I have so much 1-drops that I will find Dargo fodder. And everyone else mulliganed really low. Atali mulliganed to 5. No, Atali mulliganed to 4. Tymna, Dargo mulliganed to 5. Kinnan mulliganed to 3. And I was on second 7. I built my deck not to have to mulligan low, so I'm gonna give myself some credit. And I'm sure Atali was thinking I need to mulligan for a really fast hand. But you know, variance goes your way sometimes too. And I wish I could say the game was super interesting, but you know, the Vexing Bauble came out and no one else really did anything, and I said, okay, I'm gonna send this peer into the abyss, and it resolved, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna win. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
And after you win the tournament, do you feel like something changed as a player? Because something that this is like I don't know if you know that when the astronauts go out of the Earth and come back, they have this situation that they start to see the things different. So it seems like in the humans, when they have these experiences, like big experiences, big equipment, something changed. So you feel that, you believe that after this, what is going on, what is different?
It's a really interesting question, honestly. After I won, like, the main thing was relief. Like, I was elated, I was so happy, but I started sobbing and crying because there was all this tension built up inside of me that was just coming out. I was like, oh my god, it's over, and I won. Oh my god. Again, I try to stay very process oriented, so it wasn't like, oh my god, I achieved my goal, I did it. But I do feel validated in a way. Like, I felt confident that I am a strong, capable player for a long time. Internally, I've felt strong, which is important. You should be confident in yourself, right? And like I said, I didn't go thinking, oh, I'm gonna lose and do horribly. I went thinking, I'm just gonna do the best I can. That's all I can do, is do the best I can. I do feel it feels great to be able to point to something and say, look, I am good. I can, look at what I did. But at the end of the day, I'm trying not to let it change me or how I look at the game too much, because again, it's very high variance. I might not win a large tournament like this ever again, because I might not get the right variance, and I might not pick the right deck for the metagame. And at the end of the day, I play cEDH as a hobby because I enjoy it, not because I want to be a professional cEDH player, So I'm gonna pick the deck I like to play. And I'm very happy I'll always have something to point to, and I'll always have something to hang my hat on. But the journey of my attitude is the journey of self-improvement is endless, right? So there's always room to grow. There's always room to improve. A thing I realized that really helps me keep the right mindset is when you cast Vampiric Tutor, do you pick the best card 100% of the time? It's probably not the case, right? Out of all the cards in the deck, do you really pick the best one every time? And so I strive to get to the point where I feel like, yes, I always pick the best card every time. And I know I'm not there yet. So, yeah. But it's weird. I mean, like, people treat me different. That's the weirdest thing is, like even my locals, everyone is like, oh, the champ is here. And I'm like, oh, it's so weird, man. It's so strange. It's surreal, it is. And, but I still love the game. I still want to just play and improve and brew. And everything is different, but it's still the same, so.
Yeah, I believe that this confidence, because you win tournament, of course, self-validate us. Probably is gonna potentiate your own skills in terms of when you say I keep my field 7. And that is my I have credit for that because I build my deck in that way. And so and you win the tournament. So basically you come back and say, okay, so I know what I am doing. And that is super important because it's like it's different when the things because the variant don't happen because you don't have this thing that say you, okay, this proof that your decisions are correct. So that is super good, and I believe I was thinking about the astronaut analogy because I was seeing this movie Losing the Sky, I guess is the name, but it's it was very interesting, and I believe that when the people like you win this big tournament, it's something different after that. So that led me. That moved me to the next question. That is, what are your planning project related with Magic the Gathering? Like you are start to do some coaching. You are going to start your own YouTube channel or something similar. You have plans for that?
Not really. I mean, so I'm open to doing coaching potentially, but I'm when I played fighting games, I saw some success, competitive success. People wanted to follow me, and I did the social media thing, and I streamed fighting games, and tried to teach people, and it was really fun. But it kind of got in the way of just doing the thing I love and the thing I enjoy. And at the end of the day, like I want to keep. I play cEDH because I enjoy it and because I love it, and I love Magic, and so I want to keep that relationship as important in my life. So okay. I love talking about the game. I love thinking about the game. So getting to do interviews like this and talk about the deck and talk about how I view the format, I love it, and it's great, and I really enjoy it. But I want to, at the end of the day, I want to keep being a player first, Okay. I'm going to take advantage of qualifying for the Invitational. I'm going to keep going to tournaments, and I might try to travel to some other big tournaments because I've got a little momentum and my deck's in a good spot in the meta right now. If I'm running hot, keep it going. But I just want to meet other cEDH players and play with them and have fun, good games at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So
that's completely fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to make content. I don't want to make like cEDH my job. Like I want cEDH to be like the thing I get to do outside my job that I always look forward to, So, And that's not a
Yeah.
judgment call on anyone who does make content, you know. It's just what I want, you know. So yeah.
No, I mean it's completely fine. I mean, uh, sometimes this game. I mean, when we start to do a lot of project related with our hobbies,
Yeah.
yeah, at the end, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my final question in this interview is related with the meta. So right now we are in a fast meta, or a faster meta that a couple of months ago, and so what you expect about that is we're gonna just start to shift to some soft stacks. We are gonna move again in mid-range hell, or this is gonna be something that it depends of the bands, because we have all this information about the things that it maybe could be banned or maybe not. So what are you?
So this is really tough. I can't predict, I can't predict the future, but I can give you I can give you a few possible futures, The main instinct I have is I don't see the meta slowing down naturally anytime soon. And what I mean by naturally is through the deck choices of the players, right? Like the meta has sped up because everyone has chosen to play these quicker, more proactive decks. Particularly, I would say the decks that I would particularly call out as culprits in this are Ral and Atali. And the reason this happened is, in my opinion, a response to the value grind decks of Rogthras and Yoshi Thras, the cradle value decks that if the game goes long, they just take over and win, Yeah. So right now, I don't see people shifting back to slower decks unless something happens. Now, what we've seen in the past as things that can happen is a powerful new commander gets printed, because, hey, Ral and Atali are these powerful new commanders that got printed, right? The ban list changes, which certainly could happen, or a new strategy gets innovated, or tech shifts. So I think it's very possible we see a lot more stacks pieces out of decks like Blue Farm. Currently, I think Blue Farm seems to be trying to deal with the meta by speeding up. They're trying to be more of a turbo deck than a mid-range deck, which I think is very reasonable. I think Blue Farm's a really good turbo deck. But we could see Blue Farm start playing more stacks pieces. We could see more blind obediences. We could see, there's all sorts of stuff that we could see that might slow some of these decks down. Problem is, it's really hard to slow all of them down,
Yes.
Like Vexing Bauble is great against Ral and Atali. Blind Obedience doesn't do a lot against Ral or Atali, especially Ral, It's really good against Tymna Dargo, but Vexing Bauble doesn't really do anything against Tymna Dargo, So I'm not convinced there's a simple stacks-based solution to the meta. My guess is the meta is going to stay as it is unless someone really innovates with a new archetype, and to me, my guess is that would be a control archetype of some kind. But what that deck looks like and its ability to succeed under tournament conditions, I'm not confident about it. I've been brewing control. I have a Balin, the Haymaker stacks control list that I've worked on, which, I mean, it does the thing, but it can't win the game. And I've been messing with Ishtola, the cat girl from Final Fantasy, trying to play control with that. I think Niv Mizzet maybe could be it, but I think those decks are really hard to play, especially in tournament. You need to threat assess really well, you need to politic really well, and you need the games to play at a fast enough pace that you don't hit time, and so you can actually accrue wins. So my guess is, unless we get a ban list shakeup, I don't think things are going to change much. However, I do believe that Rhystic Study being banned actually benefits stacks decks and control decks slightly more than mid-range decks like Blue Farm. Like I think a deck like Niv Mizzet becomes way stronger if Ristic Study gets banned, because suddenly you have this, and decks like Rog Thras and Yoshi Thras as well, which maybe need to shift to be more interactive and less parasitic. But suddenly you have this insane value engine in the command zone, and there's no longer this card like Ristic Study that just keeps up or even overtakes it, you know? So I think Ristic Study being banned will not help. Like the turbo meta is a response to Ristic Study in a way, because if Ristic Study comes out, the value is insurmountable, right? And if these games go long, whoever has Ristic Study wins, right? So to me, like, you know, my prediction is it doesn't actually help Turbo to ban Ristic, but frankly, like, it's such a fundamental card that the format is completely warped around. No one can predict what will happen. It's like Dockside going. Like, Dockside was like the defining card of the format, and Ristic is now the defining card. So it would definitely shake things up. That's for sure. Who can predict what will happen? You know?
But I don't know if you see the spoilers about the reprint of Dockside in Avatar.
I know.
So I don't know. You know, the people and the prices of Dockside is going up because the people is speculating that it's gonna be unbanned.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is the weird to think about it.
I would look. Dockside. I love the guy. I love playing with him. I think, again, like, we can say if Dockside gets unbanned, Turbo will just take over, but, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You really never know. Like, look, before the bans, that Balin the Haymaker deck with Dockside was so amazing. Like, that deck, I think it was like, it could have been a top tier deck given time to develop more, because you got to shut off Dockside and abuse it. It was like so powerful. So you just never know, you know, like, it's impossible for anyone to predict the future is my point. But my guess is we're not going to see a major meta shakeup unless there's new printings or a ban list change or some big innovation, which could totally happen, you know? So,
definitely. Okay, so I just going to say thank you, Sylvie, for this interview. It was very fun. A very interesting, very instructive, conversation with you. Again, congratulations! You win that massive tournament, and good luck in all the other tournaments that come in the future for you. So
thank you.
we're gonna see you from here. Our community, it follow very close the cEDH in US meta, because it's like probably you have the more tournaments around the world each weekend. So basically we always are looking at and see the list, the innovation, all the things. So see you in the internet. So thank you so much.
See you. Thanks so much. Great talking with you, Hans, and have a good one. Bye.
Okay, bye.